Innovative content. Global audience.
Beautiful day here in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And we're reaching you live from our SRTV studio in Abuja. We know a lot of issues have been coming up from elections to agreed party to people that are rejoicing. But of course, today I have with me here in the studio a very special guest that we're going to discuss these issues together, of course, and do the reviews also together. Good morning, Nigerians. My name is Princess KESSY, and you're highly welcome to the show. Mr. Chukuma, welcome to the show.
Thank you for
Okay, like I said, I have Mr. Chukuma in there, a political analyst this morning with me to discuss some of these very, very weighty and topical issues. Mr. Chukuma, just before we go into the newspaper reviews, now I want to ask you, what's your assessment of the elections conducted by INEC?
like most Nigerians. It's unfortunate we are retrogressing politically.
You think so?
Yeah, we are retrogressing because we expected so much from the presidential elections to the gubernatorial elections that just held, and generally, in fact, it's not an isolated thought. It's an aggregated opinion. The international observers have said same, the local observers have said same. We've never had it this bad, especially when you assess the reports of observers, because it gives you an empirical analysis of how everything played out. And mine would not be different because by the grace of God, I am a progressive. I wish Nigeria the best. And if we get it right, I'll be part of those who will come.
That's
Yeah,
right.
who will beat my chest and say, yes, we are getting it right. But this
Yes.
time, especially with the ethnic bigotries and in the West and the failure of INEC to fulfill its own commitment.
So, what are some of these things you think that they didn't do well?
Like
Can
I
you
said,
pinpoint some of
like I
these?
said, okay, like for the presidential elections, uh, several times there were feelers suggesting that INEC would not optimize the use of POP. And the INEC chairman severally rebutted those information, denying that nothing like that would happen. But finally, it played out. So I don't know. But most Nigerians think for him to have come severally to say, "Well, we told this part and we do not." He's ordinarily, if it is in a Senate climb, he should be able to throw in the carpet and throw in the towel and
That is
leave
right.
that
We know
seat.
that a lot of people, as we speak, a lot of people also are heading to the tribunal. Also, we all know that,
Yeah.
and it's really a shame. Like a lot of people, I had so many guests over on this show also that said the same thing, and it's a shame that a lot of Nigerians are really disappointed in INEC, that they look so much that's they look up to INEC, and at the end of the day, like somebody said, I don't think we have that system is not working. They have a long way to go. And then moving forward this morning, Mr. Chikuma, let's just go quickly at some of the dailies we have this morning. And of course, we're going to do the reviews together, like I said, because these are some of the topical issues we have today. And then we have on the Daily Trust today. The major headlines there said NNPP wins in Kano, APC in Kaduna, Niger, Benue, Nasarawa, Borno, Ebonyi, Cross River. And now the writer says PDP clinches Plateau Rivers, Delta, Taraba leads in Zamfara. INEC declares Adamawa poll inconclusive. Soldiers kill two policemen in Taraba. Coalition suspended in Abia, Enugu. All these stories could be seen on page 4, 11, and 36 of the paper. And now, just before we move forward, Mr. Chikuma, now what's your take on this Adama was, people were really happy when they saw that woman. It's as if she was
Yeah,
already leading, and there was so much
yeah.
joy. People were just very excited that that is coming from a core northern state. Now, what's your take on this?
It's it is. We've gotten to the point where we should change the trajectory about some of those things we are looking for. Even if I'm a fan of anyone who comes up to challenge men, because we live in a patriarchal society where men influence reign supreme, and especially in the corner where she is from. But she has been able to distinguish herself among
Self.
her peers, and look at where she is. She's causing a revolution is that has changed the status quo, and we don't know where it's going to. So
That's true.
thumbs up to her, and it's also a wake up call to other women like her who have capacity. We have several of them, but they always run into their shell, maybe because the man of the house has not given them that leverage. And also to call on men to empower their wives to exercise their full potential. The horizon is wow. So anybody who has potential should be allowed to use it, especially when it's for positive purpose.
Wow, it's a good one. Also, we saw a lot of election crisis between and of course Zambia, and now the election also population there has been the state. Now, what do you make of this?
The kind of politics we play in our climate, but desperation. Those in power don't want
Let's
to
go.
be, yeah, it's that tight-fisted attitude of politicians to be or no other. Several attempts to manipulate elections. That is why Nigerians should call INEC out. Call INEC out and show that subsequently we get it right. In
You know,
fact,
you know,
we've gotten to the point where we should demand for a truly independent INEC. An INEC that the legislation should legislate on a new way of nominating the INEC chairman. We had the River State, the former River State Governor Rotimi Amechi, alluding to the fact that one of the concerned, the president-elect, was the INEC chairman was nominated from his camp.
what we
And
expect at the end of the day.
exactly. So let's have a truly, for me, he might not have orchestrated all what we are seeing. But because of the complicity, and you
Because
find you cannot exonerate him. So the truth is, we must demand for a truly independent INEC, so that whenever the elections come, people will know that it is not the election. Look at the bloodshed in Lagos State. Look at people, the number of people who have died because Nigeria wants a new leader. And we recall the words of our former president, Goodluck, that his aspiration, that no life is what he aspires. But now we've lost several lives because people want to rule. It is unfortunate the part we've gotten to. Like I said initially, we progressed politically as a nation.
it's really a sad one. Then we have another story here also that says two killed, many adopted as bandits block married Jerry Road. This story, of course, is on the Daily Trust newspaper. And then we have another story here that say analysts forecast interest rates hike as NBC meeting ends today. And then we have another story here also that says serious bandits Umaru Nangana are killed by troops. That story is on page 17 of the paper. We also have another story here that says Ramadan moon tomorrow. Sultan tells Muslims. That story is on page 36 of the paper. We have another story here also that says that Zamfara Anambra speakers lose to PDP candidates. We have another story here also. The Kano governorship, we are studying results. We will make our position known. This is coming from the APC. And what's your take on that Kano issue? Now, we know that APC lost in that state, and that is
Yes.
one of their strongest states, if you ask me.
You see, antecedents matter in the political sojourn of any individual. We've seen the Kwankwaso um, movement, how he has proved to the letter that he have bought the heart of the people of Kano.
That's true.
And because he was governor for 8 years, and you see how he flawed the ruling party.
As
And
if, like it
yeah, so
was.
unprecedented. He has shown them that he led the state properly and he connected with the people. And that is what we want. That is the kind of follower leadership we want. And where the followership without inducement in their numbers will queue
In
behind you.
numbers, I love that word.
Yeah, in their numbers, they will queue behind you no matter what. Okay, recall the incident where the former House of Rep member had issues and there was arson, one of their structures. That
Yes.
did not even deter them. So we are talking about when you say there is an organic followership, not those who are coerced into submitting to your authority. We want a Nigeria where we have leaders, options of who choose from. And when we get to that point, we'll not assess you based on your distance because you're coming to lead a people who are probably more intelligible and more knowledgeable of societal development. So the people must continue to take that decision for themselves.
That's a nice one. And then we move on quickly. This is the last story coming from the Daily Trust headlines this morning. And we have a story here that says that China Nigeria trade deal dropped by 37 billion naira in 1 year. That story is on page 21 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We'll move on quickly to the New Telegraph newspaper. And then these are some of the stories making waves this morning. We have Gubapu, Mohammed Sule Zulum returned for second term. This story is on page 2 and 26 of the newspaper. And writer says, as NNPP brands Kano, PDP secures Delta Plateau, APC wins in Niger, Ebonyi, Cross River, Sokoto, Kaduna, Okowa, Umai, Bello, Kwankwaso, in Steel Chronics, Wike Uwaye, Ipazu battle for successor. These stories could be seen on page 30 of the newspaper. And then we have another story here also that says EU observers carpet INEC security agency. It's almost
It's
like what
just
you said, yes.
it's a fact. It's a given that they've disappointed us. The Nigerians must get them to account for the billions of naira that
Yes, that was budgeted for
that
that
was
particular.
budgeted for to ensure that the recall that those monies were budgeted to ensure the credibility of the election. And now, from local and international observers, we have agreed, majority have agreed that the elections were flawed and did not meet the standard. They did not meet a quarter of the standard that they told us that they would.
And because the
Yeah.
story, the writer went further to say that that says the EU now is saying that 21 deaths occurred during the Guba pool. Uh, had public confidence, trust in. They had public confidence, trust in commission, but they didn't see that, and it was something they are now holding INEC for, and of course the security agency. So we have issues in my state where we live that day here, and somebody called that is a war zone in their own polling unit, where a said commission actually again with so many thugs, and they said either you vote this party or you run for your life. A lot of people started running. They started destroying things. Of course, most of them rebelled against them, but when they saw that they overpowered them, they started destroying things and all that. And I asked, my first question was, where are the security agencies? Because I believe also when you know that this election, a lot of, I feel like they should have seen ahead and of course position station some of these security people where they needed to be, because we heard the IG says we are deploying, this one thing we are deploying and all that,
The police were compromised.
and that is what I thought also.
Yeah, because we saw videos even from the presidential election where in Lagos people were saying Igbos should not, MC Odumo was talking about Igbos should not come here and vote. There was a policeman standing beside him. His, his duty is to enforce that. You don't need to arrest him. You need to auction him. But there was none that was okay for the governorship election. There is a video allegedly in one of the northern states where policemen were coordinating those queuing to collect money
Money.
for vote buying, which is a crime. Which is a crime. And you see, we must call out these authorities so that these are videos that are trending on social media. Let us see sanctions. Bring out, isolate these people and sanction them so that it will serve as a deterrent. The greatest challenge of our country is that people perpetuate criminalities and they go scot-free. The essence of having law in the country is so that it serves as deterrent and it stops people from doing what somebody has been sanctioned for. Somebody has been penalized, you will be scared of towing that part. But in our climb, people tow that part and you find them in top government position because they battled to ensure that somebody wins that ticket, and when he wins, he elevates them instead of scolding them. So that is the issue that we have in our country, and it must be conscious. Our legislators, our legislators, because they make the law, they must be conscious to this fact because we are gradually getting to the cliff, and when we get there, anarchy would not, because yes, when the laws to work, it means people would take, nobody would want to go to the court if, for instance, we lose total confidence in the court. Nobody would want to go to the court. It means if you if you maybe you accuse, or maybe if you have issues, if you wrong me, instead of taking it to the court, I
Just have
would,
it my way.
yes, I'll just jungle justice. And when you have a plurality of that, that's anarchy. So we should not. Several Western countries have experienced this impact. We are gradually tilting to that direction. And as a people of conscious intellectuals, Nigeria is one of the countries where we have intellectuals who have been left to drive other economies, and we are left with almost nothing. And now we are not getting the part which
I have a story here also on the New Telegraph that says Ramadan 2023, Southern Sultan urges Muslims to search for new moon on Wednesday. That story is, of course, on page 4 of the New Telegraph. We have another story here also that says Senate President Speaker group makes case for Southeast and Northwest on page 5 of the paper. We have another story here also that says oil prices crashed to lowest since December 2021. That story is on page 2 of the paper. We have another story here also that says popular Lagos-based auto dealer Bona Arraign on page 6 of the paper. Recall also the man in Lagos that had issues with his wife, and it was alleged that the wife died of domestic violence, and the man have been arraigned again. And then we have a story here. What's this? What do you make of these Senate, this story, Senate President Speaker, who make case for Southeast and Northwest.
For me, ordinarily, yes, there should be that consciousness to strike a balance because we are people. Personally, I don't buy into that trajectory because I prefer to identify capacities. But even in the National Assembly, you find out that these people played ethnic and religious politics. So we should use that also to balance what has been achieved in the executive and maybe the judiciary. So I think, yeah, if you call for Southeast, fine. But ordinarily, we should look out for somebody who has the capacity to drive the process properly, who has that sense of independence
For that reason,
and
I have
the sense of independence. You see what the PPP did when Saraki was in the Senate. That is the kind of Senate we would like to have for every Nigerian cycle of elections. We want a Senate, a National Assembly that is independent and that can call the, because the, the framers of the Constitution, they want each arm of government to check the other. And one of them, when you say, the incumbent National Assembly that will pass everything the president brings, then when you're called a rubber stamp, you say you're not a rubber stamp. You know, so when sometimes people make comments and they don't know the import of the comments they make, they call you now a rubber stamp to the president, and you say you're not. But you made that comment saying everything the president, anything the president that you support to go through, even if they are not right. So we want a National Assembly that will be critical of anything that comes from the executive and be able to check them to ensure that the best for the country, because they are our representatives and they must protect our interests. And that is what we want going forward.
And then we have another story also coming from Kano this morning that say Kano imposes dogs to dawn curfew over violent celebration of the NNPP's win. Tension, protest in Kaduna, Enugu over Guba results. Soldiers shoot two policemen dead in Taraba. All these stories, of course, are in page 446 and 30 of the paper. We have another story here. Alleged 2 billion naira fraud. AFCC arrest NCAA's account director. Three others on page 2 of the paper. We have another story here also that says 15 years after Bondove University graduate press set of students on page 8, 26 student bag first class. That is really somehow 15 years after such a long time. If you ask me. Then I'm seeing this, there's this picture, and then like we saw already in Kano, this coffee. Me, I'm thinking that like APC said that they are studying the results, they will take subsequent action later and later. But I think this coffee, what do you make of it?
Yeah.
Because
Ordinarily, we should be expected because uh, NMPPs, the kid and the law, they have come to take what the APC thought it was. Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
heritage or
So,
something.
and you will now have a state where you have okay, let me say now, the majority of the people voted for the incoming governor and against those who are incumbent. So ordinarily, it is a sensitive. They are going to be sensitive. It's going to be sensitive in the polity. So that is okay.
Expected.
Yeah, it is expected, and it's okay to have that coffee for now.
Dice
To
tensions
douse
and
the
all that.
tensions, and subsequently, it will not be difficult to overcome because this is the figures are overwhelming, and yeah, the courts are there. Also, if
And
they
you
think,
know, and you know, I think this year's election, if you ask me, although INEC, a lot of people have already lost hope on INEC as it stands right now, and of course the security agency. But if you ask me, there's something spectacular about this year's election. we saw that parties that people thought were no parties actually came and shook the very mighty ones, and it's something to be happy
It's
about.
that success was ordinarily what the beavers would have consolidated on. And that was why the enthusiasm ahead of the presidential election was high. In fact, people had to fly into Nigeria for that election. So just it's like, oh, celebrating a new independence, that we are leaving the parts where criminality thrived and we are going into the future. So it was expected. But when it was cut short, when we saw
The lapses
the
here and
lapses,
there.
obvious lapses, you tell me the same device that takes House of Rep and takes the Senate, you upload both, and you're telling me it is not uploading the presidential result. And at the end of the day, we saw papers that are figures that are being uploaded, and you wonder why we still agree to remain on that path. It is most unfortunate and condemnable.
Right, it's unfortunate. And then we have the last story here on the New Telegraph that says forest crisis. Nigerians import from China down by 29% to 5.81 trillion naira. Uh, and then we move quickly to Al Jazeera, Nigeria, where we have Kwankwaso send a Ganduje packing in Kano. That story is on page 9 of the newspaper. We have another story here that says the APC reclinches to Sokoto, Benue, as PDP retrieves Plateau. Kebbi, Adamawa, Abia for rerun as INEC declares them inconclusive. All these stories also could be seen on the page 9 of the Al Jazeera newspaper. And we have another story here also that says we shall work to meet needs of Ebonyi people, governor elect. This is coming from the governor elect this morning. We also have another story here that says Kano government declares curfew after NPP governorship win on page 2. We have a story here also that says police launch search for missing INEC officials. That story is on page 14 of the paper. Of course, we have another story here that says PDP rejects Katsina governorship election results, heads to court. That story is on page 14 of the newspaper also this morning. And then we have another story here that says a naira devaluation looms as bank cuts FS sales. We have another story here that says a Bauchi speaker congratulates Bauchi governor on re-election. That story is on page 15 of the paper. Lick your wounds, Ogun APC tears and Mosun PDP on page 8 of the paper. We also have a story here that says Atiku warns INEC over rigging attempt in Adamawa. That story is on page 2 of the paper. I think it's no longer news that right now, like you said, everybody, a lot of people, majority, you use the word majority, of course, and some of the EU observers also are no longer having faith on the INEC. And I bet that call is a very serious one. We wouldn't want anything. But you know how it is. And like I said earlier, when this is a core northern woman, I'm even surprised that she was able to go to that height, because we know these areas and we know what they make of women. And we really do hope that INEC also will do the needful and let it be free and fair, because that was what we had during the presidential election, and after which we had crisis. Of course, they promised there was on the headings on a daily basis. You see that there were calls for INEC to resolve these issues we had in the presidential poll before we go on to the states, and you saw that some of these issues also came up. And so it's really sad, and we're really hoping and also that INEC we also do the needful. And then we move quickly to the Daily Champion. And these are some of the stories making waves this morning. We have stop attacks on Idingo in Lagos now or face the wrath. Ohaneze warns Oluomo, Onanuga, Femi, Fani Kayode, others. These stories they are on page 30 of the papers. And of course, we have Another story here that says, ask Buhari, Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu, IGP to stop ethnic profiling. Guba pulls a declaration of war in Niger Delta residents in states. Tinubu will turn Nigeria into a Nazi state. This is coming from article this morning, and that story is, of course, is on page 30 of the paper of the Daily Champion. We have another story here also that says two police officers shot dead, two others injured by soldiers at INEC Collation Center in Taraba State. We have another story here that says, Kanu residents deferred Kanduje's curfew, celebrate NNPP's Yusuf victory. APC urges members to be calm and peaceful. This story is on page 6 of the Daily Champion newspaper. We have another story here also that says, 78 million children risk water related crisis in Nigeria. And this is coming from the UNICEF on page 3 of the paper. We have another story here that says Saludo did not spend 3.5 billion on vote buying. This is coming from his aide this morning on page 9 of the paper. We also have another story here that says cash crunch again. Ani Ferrer raises alarm on page 8 of the paper. We have another story here that says also, 2060 emotion group list measures to achieve feast on page 8 of the paper. You were not re-elected, you selected yourself, file stares Sonwolu on page 8 of the paper. You are double-faced agents. Aisha Yusufu blast British High Commissioner Katrina Long on page 8 of the paper. And then these are some of the story making waves this morning. We also have a story here that says the Guba poll, PDP takes Plateau, Bauchi, Delta, and Taraba as APC wins in a Boeing. Benue, NNPP's Yusuf shines in Kano. INEC suspend collation of results in Enugu, Abia State. These are some of the stories we have this morning, Mr. Chukuma. It's on the Daily Champion newspaper. These are some of the headlines also. I really want us to talk about these, the Indigo, what they are facing. But I know also 2 weeks ago we had a major headline that says some of the, of course, the Ohanese said Lagos is a home. It has been peaceful for them, and then they were saying that they feel at home in Lagos. I don't know whether or not you saw that particular story. And so it's kind of it's somehow now that they are coming out also for this call. And we had during that on Saturday, that governorship election, I was opportune to bring in one of the deputy governor or candidates that was vying also on the show, and he said that there was a major low turnout in Nasarawa State. Because of course people alleged that the Igbo people in the state refused to come out to vote because they were scared of the threats here and there. So what's your take on this? This is becoming like too much.
The truth is, constitutionally, we are all Nigerians. I, for one, in fact, I was conceived in Lagos. My elder brothers were conceived all in Lagos. My family has stayed in Lagos for a very long time. So I grew up in a plural society where we never saw ourselves as Igbo, Yoruba. But I only know there's a home state where I come from, and from time to time I am a visitor in my state. I lived in Lagos almost all through. I did nursery school, primary school, secondary school. It was university that took me to Calabar. So when you have people like us who have been there, my father came to Lagos in 1965. So imagine how long he has stayed there and has earned, pays his tax. My father was a former local government vice chairman in Ajeromi fellow to local government, an Igbo man. You know, we have lived together for a very long time without issues. But this one is peculiar because the electorate felt what they've been having before was not good enough. And they overwhelmingly voted for P2B, and the margins were high. If you the Ladan Salihu came out, who was a PDP agent, said the figures were over 900, the figures were very high. And that's why you now saw this desperation. Yeah, but it was not just Igbos that voted. The Yorubas voted.
Also,
The other non-indigenous who did not like the style of governance voted. So I think when there is a referendum on your style of leadership, it should give you thoughts about how you are carrying out your activities. It should not bring out the bad side of you to now say if the numbers of Igbos in Lagos are large, the numbers of non-indigenous who they also mistake to be Igbos are large, and you see some of them fell victim. I've seen countless videos of so many stabbed. In fact, the one that was horrible. The guy, his right leg, the bones are broken. He was crying like a baby just because he went to exercise his franchise. How long would we continue to live like this? Where you are reminded of where you come from. When they want to collect tax, they don't remember.
no,
They don't.
no,
When they want blood from you to survive, they don't
don't
remember that you are
remember.
Igbo. They don't remember that you are Christian. When they want your tax to develop the state, they don't remember. See, we must be conscious about these things because we are going to bequeath Nigeria to the generation to come. And someday in Nigeria, we have two major religions, Christian and Muslim, and both religions, they tell you that someday you will account. And these people, do they remember that one day they will account for these things and that there is something called karma that will come back to them? But whatever it is, the fact is the Igbos have been very calm. They've not recently in my area in Lagos, very close to my church where I worship. In fact, very close, a strolling distance from my house. That was where the Akere bus stop market was burnt, and the security person was killed just because he was pleading with them not to cause the havoc they wanted to cause. So, if we continue like this, would we not end up destroying ourselves? I call on the Igbos in Lagos to remain calm and continue to engage the authorities. There is no time, there's no place that is known as no man's land. Yes, you are our host, but the Constitution of Nigeria allows us to live where we are and to contribute to its development. And if we've been doing this over
the
time,
years.
to the extent that for me as an individual, I can attest to the fact that my father has been there for a very long time, to the extent that he became a local government vice chair. In fact, he was invited because my community is largely Igbo. In fact, in my community, Yorubas now speak Igbo. Just because we interface, we now live together. They speak Igbo, and they called my father, come and contest. He did, and they won. And seamlessly, he left. He's not a politician. Thereafter, he did not contest anything. He's just a lawyer who practiced in that town and was identified for what he did. So, but today they've brought all kind of sentiments into a peaceful society that has brought out its best. That's why Lagos has been the center of excellence because of this. How would I call it now? This love that has been the foundation of the existence of whether Yorubas, Igbos. In fact, most of this, the so-called people claiming indigenous are not even indigenous. They are just Yorubas who are also visitors in the state. So, but because they speak Yoruba, they feel it is a Yoruba place. They are now generalizing it. You don't want to now isolate those who came. But the truth is, we are all visitors. We are first human beings before we are whether Igbo or Yoruba or Christians or Muslim. So we must care for ourselves and treat people based on the content of their characters.
All right, we move forward quickly. I really do hope with all you have said that we see a more peaceful Lagos because we
With
know that
Chris,
the Igbo people also, they don't just go to your place to occupy, but they go to progress a state. We know
yeah,
them for that. That in particular, and so we move quickly to this Nigeria, where we have these are the major headlines this morning. INEC declares that Damawa KB governor elections inconclusive. We have a story here also that say tension mounts in Enugu, Abia over suspension of result collation. We have another story here also that says uh, 78 million children at risk of water related diseases in Nigeria. This story is, of course, on page 6, and this call is coming from UNICEF this morning. We have another story here also that says Fubara, Oborewori, Zulum, Nwanfuru, Kabiri, Otu, Aliabago, others join League of Governors elect. These stories are on page 4 this morning. I also have a story here that says electoral violence claimed 21 lives during Saturday's election. This is according to the EU EOM report, and that story is on page 12. And then we have another story here that says ABGA denies 3.5 billion allegation of vote buying in Anambra State. That story is on page 10 of the paper. We have another story here that says JAM sets new guidelines for registration. That story is on page 6 of the paper. And then we have another major headlines here that says Ohaneze Ohaneze alleges profiling of Igbo in Lagos, seeks urgent intervention. That story is on page 10. Election observer kick against plunging Lagos into political security crisis. That this story is also on page 10 of the this Nigerian newspaper. I also have a message here for you, Mr. Chikuma. Somebody is asking whether or not don't you think at this point the Igbos should just go back to their lands?
there's no. The truth is, there's no going back to any land. The land is our land. It is our land. We are Nigerians. Constitutionally, we are in Abuja. It means we all go back to our places. It is the connection of people that brings the development. Anybody who says in his community is going to fence it, no external person, you will see their knowledge base will not surpass what they already know. So it's only when you open the gates, there becomes plurality of opinion. You bring your thoughts, I bring my thoughts. We weigh the options, and development continues. So there is no time it can be achievable. There's nowhere it has been achieved. Nowhere on the face of the earth. There's nowhere that people have been successful to say, let's chase out these people, because yes, there will always be agitation by those who are narrow-minded, very myopic set of people. And I would also join to call out Bayo Nonuga, a very respected senior colleague, that he could stoop so low
Involved in
to
such.
involve himself in some of this petty thing. I, I'll call him out because he represents a profession that I am proud of. And he has so disappointed us, the younger ones coming behind him. Ethnic profiling should be condemnable. In fact, I think the country should legislate that all the states should go. All the states should go. We should just have one Nigeria. And that is what you see what the young people, why they keyed into the obedient movement. That was what he was propagating. He said, don't vote for me. Peter Obi was saying, don't vote for me because I'm an Igbo man. Vote for me because you buy into the ideology I want to drive. And this is what Nigerians are asking for. That you will come and identify yourself as a Nigerian. We saw the videos of people online tearing their international passports in protest to the sham that we call an election that just held. So it is so unfortunate we've gotten to the point where we must, those who call themselves stakeholders of this Nigerian state, would come together and tell ourselves the truth to our face and tell ourselves the path to follow so that we will not continue like this. If not, like I said, anarchy is looming.
All right, now we'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue with the newspapers. If you don't go anywhere, stay with us. We'll be right back.
RTV London, in partnership with NTA TV Enterprise, present the maiden edition of the Nigerian Week in the capital of the world, London. A wonderful blend of entertainment, business, and networking, displaying a wide range of arts, national cash crops, financial products and services, and real estate for huge extra opportunity in diaspora. Look no further. The 36 states of the Federation, the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, Trade and Investment, the Nigerian Film Corporation, and host of others will be in attendance. Date 15 to 21st of May 2023. Venue Lighthouse, Camberwell, Southeast London. For details, log on www.superradiotelevision.com/Nigerian Week or call +447 549 513 619 or +234 814 358 28.
Ladies, are you ready to shine? Here's a golden opportunity for you to show the world the queen in you. As the second edition of Face of SRTV Ladies Edition is about to begin. What are you waiting for? Register online with just 500 naira and stand a chance of winning a cash prize of 100,000 naira and the deal of becoming our ambassador. There will also be consolation prizes for second and third place winners. To register, kindly pay the registration fee and send your name, age, picture, and state of origin to this number 0906 895 2170. For more inquiries, please call 0907 400 7816. Powered by SRTV London. The face of
RTV London, in partnership with NTA TV Enterprise, present the maiden edition of the Nigerian Week in the capital of the world, London. A wonderful blend of entertainment, business, and networking, displaying a wide range of arts, national cash crops, financial products and services, and real estate for huge extra opportunity in diaspora. Look no further. The 36 states of the Federation, the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, Trade and Investment, the Nigerian Film Corporation, and host of others will be in attendance. Date 15 to 21st of May 2023. Venue Lighthouse, Camberwell, Southeast London. For details, log on www.superradiotelevision.com/Nigerian Week or call +447 549 513 619 or +234 814 358 2856. The Nigerian Week, celebrating the best of Nigeria from the rest.
Welcome back. This is Good Morning Nigeria, and of course, I've been on the show. I've been talking with Mr. Chukuma Inze. We'll be revealing the newspapers together, and you're highly welcome to the show. So, Mr. Chukuma, I will kick it off again from the Nation's newspaper, where we'll have a major headline here that says APC wins 15 states, PDP 6, NNPP takes Kano. These are some of the major stories here this morning, and we say Labour Party leads in Abia. Fubora Otu, Oborewori, governors-elect. These are some of the riders we'll have this morning. And then we'll have a story here that says Lagos okay 20% salary raise for workers on page 5 of the paper. We have another story here that says cash crisis, banking infrastructure for expansion. This story is on page 7 of the newspaper. We have another story here that says expect new moon for Ramadan tomorrow, says Sultan. This story is on page 26 of the Nation newspaper. We have another story here also that says JAMB sets new guideline for direct entry registration on page 27 of the Nation newspaper. We have a story here that says Nnamani quits PDP. That story, of course, is on page 3 of the paper. We also have another story here that says EFCC arrest 4 NCAA officials on page 3 of the paper. So these are some of the story making waves that this morning, Chukuma, on the Nation newspaper. These we know politicians, and that is why a lot of people have the opinion that they don't have the interest of people at heart, rather it's their own personal interest. We have a story here that says Namani quits PDP.
I think the PDP has been calling him out. They say that he's not their candidate. He's not their candidate and all that. So he has
Decided to
left
leave
to
them in
leave
peace.
finally since he lost the election. So that's not news.
And I have a story here also that says foreign observers hail INEC. So these are the issues. Last week I also heard we saw on the papers where some set of foreign observers are hailing INEC, others have been mourning the elections. And what do you make of this confusion?
Yep, it's what you have in our climate. We are not unaware of the fact that INEC accredited observers, local and international, and they cannot accredit only those who are independent. They might all them. That's the truth. You must have somebody who will speak good about you,
That's right.
so that you, yeah, because the
Can't
truth
always
is,
bite the fingers that
the
feed.
truth is, they are like we also agreed that Beavers was a game changer. Yeah, ordinarily it was supposed to give us
Very
a
credible.
very credible election. Yes, there were some achievements, but when you juxtapose it to what we anticipated, you find out that they did not cross the 50% mark. And we've been around there for a very long time. And what the Nigerian electorate is asking for is, please, let's go above this, where we've been hovering around all this while. Let's get to where our peers in the Committee of Nations are. We can do better also. And we gave INEC enough resources to take us there. So that is just it. So maybe the international observers you're talking about are assessing just, hey, maybe, yeah, P2B won Lagos State.
It's a good one.
Yeah,
Because
or
that
for the
is
first
something
time,
nobody
it's
saw coming.
yeah, it's unprecedented.
Yes.
He won Lagos.
And then some of even
Yeah, yes,
Nasarawa
it is.
states, some of these northern
Yeah,
states.
and you see, these are ordinarily what should happen when the people decide.
That's right.
Exactly.
When
When
the
the
people
people
decide.
decide, their will should be allowed to play out. But that is not enough because we bargained for more and we were promised a better deal.
Well, we move on quickly with the Punch newspaper this morning, and these are some of the stories making waves this morning. We have also here APC wins 15 states, PDP 6, and NPP takes Kano. We also have the riders that says 27 killed in election violence, Togri, Ganduje, Tambuwa candidates lose. We have another story here that says PDP rejects Ogun Kasina results. I also have a story here that says Kwankwaso supporters defy curfew, jubilate in Kano. These stories are on page 2 and 13 of the paper. And we have another story here also that say INEC suspends Abia Enugu coalitions, declare Adamawa governorship pool inconclusive. That story is on page 29 of the Punch newspapers. And we have some of the headlines here that say EFCC greets for NCAA chiefs over alleged 2 billion naira fraud. That story is on page 29 of the paper. We have another story here also that say anger as NNPCL hires expatriates to head subsidiary. This story is on page 24 of the Punch newspaper. We have another story here that say EU observers blame for vote buying. That's to blame. I beg your pardon. EU observers blame politicians INEC for vote buying. That story is on page 8 of the Punch newspaper. We have another story here that says accept defeat. Delta elect tells Omo Agege. That story is on page 12 of the paper. We'll have another story here also that says Somolu raises civil servant salary by 20%. That story is on page 8 of the paper. Lagos husband that reigned for wives' deaths. That story is on page 4 and 5 of the paper. And we also have the last story on the Punch paper this morning that say musician friend QBDC operators guide arrested. And that story is on page 5 also of the newspaper. Mr. Chukuma, I see this story here. EU observers blame politicians, INEC for vote buying. I think this is one of the story that caught my eyes this morning. Uh, and then we also, like I said earlier, we also have others observers saying that they lauded the INEC for well conducted election also. And about looking at this, what you make of this? Do you think, in your opinion, as a political expert, that they were much of vote buying this time around? Because we have issues where there were no cash. We live in a cashless society.
Vote buying is in several forms.
Okay.
There were those who were transferring cash. There were those who were handing over the notes. The new
But were there
naira
really
notes.
time for people to start transferring cash and all
Yeah,
that?
there was. There was. It's just there was somebody monitoring. In fact, it's a very very sorry situation
Situation.
because the INEC staffs will be there. They have an agent who you show your where you voted, and the agent confirms that yes, you voted for the party. Then they now send your account number. You
Wow.
go. That was just
Another form of
so
vote buying.
exactly. So the secrecy of the ballot is no longer there.
Wow.
So we have all these things. When you do a postmortem of the 2023 general election, any sane electoral umpire would try to amend those challenges. So that is what we are projecting. That the secrecy of the ballot must be sacred. However INEC will achieve it, it should be achieved. Even if it means isolating the cubicle to where nobody should be. But you find out the cubicle is here, the INEC official is here. In fact, the most of our politicians, because they also want others to do so. That was for me is a thumbs down for our president who started that when he voted President Buhari. When he voted, he
You have
raised
to
it.
raise it.
Yeah.
Show
And
people.
when you live in a nation where we talk about the secrecy of the ballot, so what are you encouraging others?
Yes.
So other politicians followed suit. When the leader of the team has done, why won't they follow? That is part of the process that undermines our political progress because the secrecy of the ballot is sacred. And that is what we should advocate for to ensure that individuals, electorate, they vote for who they want to vote for based on their conscience and not because anybody is telling you vote for here. If you're not voting for this place, don't come. We are going back to the years of what would I ancient years where we most countries, even in Africa, have left.
All right, so we move on quickly this morning to the Nigerian Pilot newspaper this morning, and these are some of the stories making waves. We have a governorship polls. APC wins 13 states, PDP 7, and NNPP 1. We also have this morning a story here. The writer says wins in 13 out of 20 states declared by Independent National Electoral Commission so far, as PDP tries behind wins in 7 out of 20 states already announced. We also have this morning, while results in Abia, Enugu, Kebbi, Adamawa have been declared inconclusive. These are some of the riders we have here this morning. And then we also have another story here that says Abuja natives demand governorship state assembly statues for FCT. Quite interesting. This story is on page 8 this morning of the paper. We also have a story here that says uh, 78 million Nigerian kids endangered by waterborne diseases. This is coming from the UNICEF this morning on page 7 of the Nigerian pilot. We also have a story here that says EU observer team documents 21 dead from electoral violence. This story is on page 7. And we have also army police clash, leaves two deaths in Taraba. We have another story here, so they say Reverend Father Alia, Catholic priest, with wins Benue governorship election. That story also is on page 6. We have another story here that says Sonwolu in victory speech decries violence, ethnic slur. That story is on page 8 of the Nigerian pilot. We have another story here that say El-Rufai faced to deliver Kaduna as PDP clinches to states. That story is on page 8 of the paper. And then we have another story here that say INEC suspend collation of result in Abia, Enugu State. That story is on page 7 of the paper. And then we'll have another story here that say Ramadan 2023, NCA NSCIA tax Muslim to look out for new moon, on page 5 of the paper. Now I want us to talk about this story, Mr. Chikoma. This story we have here: Abuja natives demand for governorship and state assembly statues in FCT. Now, what's your take? We all know that on Saturday there was nothing like election here in the state, in this federal capital territory. So, what's your take on this? This is a call that has been for
Yeah,
decades.
for a very long time. It's unfortunate, especially now that they, they lost the senatorial seat to a non-indigenous. But I still think it must not be an indigenous.
Of course, that is
Yeah,
that
it
is
must
it.
not
Like what you said earlier,
yeah,
it's
it
not
must.
about. Yes,
Exactly.
look at what the person is coming on
Yeah,
board with, the
yeah.
vision of the
They-
person.
what I think they should do is to aggregate their thoughts and what they would like to have projected by the their new the senator elect and the other assembly members who are new. Engage them. These are humans. It is only when you're beclouded by these same ancient analogies that is taking us behind that you continue to project indigenous shape. Yeah, I think they deserve something better, but it is left for the National Assembly to project. But I think with what they have, they should be able to engage these people. And even if, yes, they want the status of a state, then these are the people who will project it at the National Assembly. So they should engage them, and every other thing will be built on that.
Where we see how that go. And then let's go to the quickly to the last paper we have here today, and that is the Blueprint newspaper. And these are some of the stories making waves this morning. March 18 Dubai elections. We have Fintiri, Binani's rivalry throws Adamawa into stalemate, and we have some of the riders that says INEC declares polls inconclusive over margin of votes. Kebi 2. And then we have a story here that says PDP candidate scores 421, 421, 524. APC flag bearer also 390, 390, 275. And also we also have APC wins in Benue, Cross River, 13 others. PDP in control of 5. NNPP hold on to Kano. And then we'll have another story here that says 2023 hoodlum sets Kano. APC singers residents ablaze. These stories are all in page 5 and 15 and 6 of the newspaper. We have another story here, so they say anxiety as INEC suspend collation of result in Abia, Enugu. We also have a story here that says APC raises alarm over Adamawa vows to reclaim Bauchi. PDP kicks over Casino. And then we have Aerofiles put security agencies on red alert. These are some of the stories we have this morning, and we'll have another story here that says zoonotic disease kills 2.7 million globally, expert says on page 23 of the Blueprint newspaper. We have another story here also that says Nigerians still growing in under scarcity of cash. That story is on page 8 of the paper. We have a story here that says after expulsion, electoral defeat, Unamani quits PDP. That story, of course, is on page 8 of the paper. Wike hates Makinde, Sanwodu, and Mohammed on re-election. I also have a story here that says industrialization key to economic advancement. This is coming from the federal government on page 22 of the Blueprints newspaper. We have a story here that says Ramadan be on lookout for the moon on Wednesday. NSCIA tells Muslim on page 5 of the paper. We have another story also that says Nigeria's water crisis endangers the lives of 78 million children. That story is on page 23 of the paper. And these are some of the stories making waves this morning. We have a last story here that says ROMRDC needs to develop honey and create wealth for the nation. And that story is on page 21 also. These are some of the stories we have this morning making waves on the Nigerian Blueprint newspaper. And what do you make? I know that, of course, that's all we have on the papers this morning. But you already said, I asked you earlier your overview about this election we had this year. But then, what do you make of people, the agreed party going to court inconclusive, and then we had some that have been rescheduled? As a political expert,
The truth is, it's the election is a process which ends with the verdict of the Supreme Court in most cases. So we would wait till that the process is concluded
concluded.
at the Supreme Court to also assess. It's fine. It's part of the process, but we never anticipated this large number of cases that are going to the courts. So, like in 2015, President Goodluck Jonathan did not go to court. He was convinced, and that is how elections.
And that is because he also made a statement prior to that time
Yeah,
that its ambition is not even worth the
Yeah.
blood of any Nigerian.
that is the kind of elections we want, where people you have fewer litigations. And if we get to that point, by now we'll not be complaining about INEC. We'll be assessing the little challenges and trying to ensure that we raise the bar in the next election. But now the challenges are overwhelming and obvious to the extent that renowned foreign observers like the EU also join in the call for that it did not meet the standard. So we must be conscious. Then the story about the children water disease, I think this goes to show that government has not done enough to provide. People still drink from very, very unprotected source, from the water source where they defecate, where they bathe. They still drink water and take water there to cook. And it is because government has not covered the space, has not provided water for them. And for me, I think any government that is proactive should do an analysis. We should not be seeing reports like this.
And the number is actually
it's very high.
It's high.
It's very high. So I think it's a call on government that in this area you're failing and you can get it right.
Get it right. And also, I wanted you to shed light just before you go on this. A Catholic priest hold on to that seat in Benue State. Now, what do you make of this
Um,
as a political expert? We
it's a
know,
thing of joy.
but a lot of people also, like yesterday, somebody said that I was thinking this one will be concentrating on the duties of the church or the
No,
call
he's
from
not.
God.
He's. I think they said he has left that. He's maybe on whether the church is. He's no longer
A priest
active.
is always a priest.
No, he's no
And
longer.
that,
No,
yes.
every priest. I'm a Catholic. Every priest is under the bishop of the diocese.
Mhm.
So I think it's either they suspended him or they gave him sabbatical
Leave.
to sojourn in his political. So, but for now, he's not. He has that grace to be a politician. The good thing is he's an independent mind. There is no family to say, let me accumulate wealth for. Recall that Catholic priests
Of course.
are not
I understand.
married.
Yes.
So
And so there is nothing you're going to.
he has been somebody who has been caring. They say he has an adoration ground where he does prayers, and many people get their miracles from there. And that is how he won some of the people to himself. And from long before he won the primaries, people have been saying, since he won the primaries, he's getting it because so many people are geared to him already. And it is no longer news that he got the ticket.
Tickets.
And we've not had it like this before. So let's see what the priest will do.
Yes, like I
And
said,
we
that
hope
go ahead.
that he would raise the bar and ensure that the welfare of the people are highly protected to give that state the standard. Maybe we'll now be having priests in all
Priest.
these places.
I
It's not impossible. No, it depends. It's a challenge
like
to
I
him.
said, that
It's a
this year's
challenge.
yes, like I said that this year's election actually have really unraveled a lot of things. People
Yeah.
thought they were not. People are just coming out from their hiding. We're seeing a lot of things like the lady in Adamawa, and of course, this also we open a lot of people's eyes. People just shy away from politics and feel like it is not. I shouldn't be in governance. It is not. I don't have the calling. But meanwhile, they have it done there. Now, like we said, it's not basically about your tribe or your religion. It's what you have to offer.
Yeah.
And then we really do hope that we'll see a lot more. And just before you go, a lot of people have the opinion also that don't you think Labour Party, Labour, which you represent also, is supposed to support the Labour movement?
No, the labor unions, like we all know, supported the Labour Party. In fact, there was an endorsement formally because the labor movement owns the Labour Party.
Okay,
And it's an opportunity. The labor movement, the organized labor, trade union congress, and NLC, they own Labour Party. And over the years, Labour Party has not got it as good as it is now. And it is because they came out to say, yes, let us be.
Are you sure it's because of the endorsement, or it's because
No.
Peter Obi as the person people actually bought into his manifesto?
The Peter Obi, the obedient movement. The obedient movement was in support of a candidate that the Labour Party have identified with and gave him his mandate. Because on the ballot, there's no Peter Obi. There was Labour Party. And if you don't recall that Peter Obi was in PDP.
Yes, that's right.
Exactly. He did not get the tickets. So it's because the Labour Party has identified his potentials. Those potentials that the working people of Nigeria will associate with. And thank God the young people of Nigerians owned it. And
I love that word. They actually owned it.
They owned it. They initiated a movement called the Obedient Movement. And today it is giving nightmare to most politicians.
That
and
is the word.
From the achievements garnered with the 2023 election, I just pray
That
they
moving
will
forward.
consolidate
Yes.
on every gain and build a party that will project the kind of Nigeria. And that's why I would always reference Peter Obi, who says, don't vote for me because I am an Igbo man or because of I am a Christian. Vote for me because I have outlined what you think we need as a people to become better.
That's right. And that is on a very good note to wrap up the show today. We have been on the show. I've been talking to Mr. Chukuma Inze. Thank you so much for being
Thank
part
you.
of the show today.
Thank you for
Of
having
course, viewers, also don't forget, just before I go, don't forget our Nigerian Week London that is fast approaching. Be part of it. We call on, of course, we already have a lot of ministries that are collaborating with us, talking about the Nigerian customs, the information and culture, and of course trade and investment, the national troop, and a whole lot of them. We know also we're just going. It's going to be colorful. The food, the culture, the music, the film, and of course the business opportunities. To be part of it, and also don't forget our SRTV face. The registration is online and it's ongoing. All you have to do is to register online, and of course send in your age, your picture, and your state of origin. That is all you need to be part of it. Who knows? You might just be the face of next of a SRTV, or face of this, or the one wearing the crown. So be part of it. Thank you so much for being part of the show today. We do this again tomorrow. I remain yours truly, Princess KESSY. Bye for now.
RTV London, in partnership with NTA TV Enterprise, present the maiden edition of the Nigerian Week in the capital of the world, London. A wonderful blend of entertainment, business, and networking, displaying a wide range of arts, national cash crops, financial product and services, and real estate. For huge extra opportunity in diaspora, look no further. The 36 states of the Federation, the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, Trade and Investment, the Nigerian Film Corporation, and host of others will be in attendance. Date 15 to 21st of May 2023. Venue Lighthouse, Camberwell, Southeast London. For details, log on www.superiorradiotelevision.com/Nigerian Week or call +447 549 513 619 or +234 814 358 2856. The Nigerian Week, celebrating the best